Dan the Man Schneider, the monster of Nickelodeon.
And the camera was. That was amazing. That was one of the better things I've ever heard.
Hey!
Hi, what's going on here?
Nothing. Cut out that part.
Why are you sitting on the floor of the set?
Because we are.
Cause we are.
Dan Schneider.
If you grew up
Here
watching
he is.
Nickelodeon, then
Oh,
there's a
look at
high
that
chance you've
neck!
heard stories about the infamous Dan Schneider. Dan got his start
Ooh,
in
he's
the
coming
entertainment
to
industry
sex
in the
you
80s.
up.
After attending Harvard for just one semester, he moved back home to Memphis to work on computers.
Wait, he went to
I'm sure
Harvard?
he's gonna have some super intelligent things to say. Really, really witty. Go, Jerry.
There's no way that's true. I went to Harvard. Harvard. Not really.
This was ultimately
He went to Harvard.
short-lived, and he would abandon his job with the goal of making it big in Hollywood. He packed up his bags and moved to Los Angeles, California to jumpstart his acting career. Dan Schneider starred in movies such as Better Off Dead, The Big Picture, and Hot Resort. And although the movies may have performed well in the box office, it was apparent that the big screen was not his medium. His portrayal as Dennis Blunden in ABC's Head of the Class would bring clarity to Dan Schneider. He was going to dominate television. Instead of acting,
Yeah,
Dan
he
began
is.
to write, produce, and create shows such as All That, Keenan and Kel, The Amanda Show, Zoe 101, Victorious, Drake and Josh, and Sam and Cat.
Dude, these are
He's
such
quoted
good
as
shows.
The most successful writer
Aw,
and
dude,
TV
he
executive
made
in
such
children's
good shows.
entertainment television for the last 30 years. In the history of self-reports, Dan Schneider has to be leading the charge. A full-grown man has plastered
Oh
his entire career
my-
with his foot fetish. Dan Schneider has deleted over 14,000 tweets. That included the words child, foot, and toes. Almost all of Dan Schneider's shows include aspects of physical comedy, including feet. After all, feet are funny. They're silly. Doesn't everyone just love feet? No. Dan Schneider and feet are inseparable. One simply cannot exist without the other. In fact,
I did not
entire
realize
meme
it was so
compilations
bad.
have been made about his foot fetish. There is a dark cloud of silence surrounding Nickelodeon's past horrors. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Nickelodeon's dialogue coach Brian Peck and Dan Schneider hosted scouting events for new talent. These events would include taking your shoes off and participating in camp-like activities such as tennis or swimming. Revenge of the Sis podcast has been relentlessly investigating Dan Schneider over the years. And according to an anonymous child actor who attended one of these scouting calls, parents were separated from children to attend a seminar in order to meet agents, while the kids were scouted at the pool. And these kids were aged 13 to 22.
He's like, you got to just take off your shoes, just like run around in front of the camera, you know, talk about how much you love being barefoot. And at the
How
time,
much you love
even,
being
I was
barefoot.
like, okay, that's weird, but I didn't think anything of it because I was still young.
Right.
Dan,
So what
Dan,
would
Dan.
happen is that your
I'll
parents
show you
would
my
send
feet if you
you
get me on Nickelodeon.
sort of like
You'd
this
have my feet
camp.
all day.
It was basic acting classes and
Paid
it
for
was an
acting
opportunity
classes.
for the
And
kids
all
to get
you need is your
discovered.
feet.
And interestingly enough, most of the kids
And we're
got
looking at your
discovered
feet.
by the pool.
Brian Peck was later charged with 11 accounts of sexual assault with a minor named John Doe in court documents. Although the identity of the 15-year-old minor has never been confirmed, in fear that it would damage the young star's career, speculations on the internet have
It's
swirled
Drake
around
Bell.
since this case. According to yet another anonymous source, the minor at the time was allegedly Drake Bell. It is impossible to ever know if this is true or not, but the internet seems convinced. Brian Peck was convicted in 2004 and
But
served 16
Drake Bell
months
did
in prison. After
pretty
his
good.
release,
16
he
months?
was
They
never allowed
actually
to work with
arrested the
children
guy?
ever again,
This isn't some
right?
drama?
No,
This
Disney
guy-
hired him to work on
Holy-
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
No, they didn't. You're telling me the man that sexually assaulted a 15-year-old boy got hired to Disney Channel? You can't make this up if you tried. You can't make this up if you tried. You can't do it. What are you doing? What are you do? What?
I'm Cole Sprouse, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I remember this. I saw this on TV.
An article from the LA Times in 2002 named Groomed to Be All That details how child
Groomed.
actors were media trained and prepped on how to deal with their unordinary life by Nickelodeon. They would carry pamphlets and attend workshops so they knew how to deal with news outlets, reporters, and fans. It highlights Nickelodeon's awareness of the dystopian work environment these kids were thrown into, oftentimes thrust into the spotlight by adults who don't have their best interest in mind. But let's talk about problems that we can avoid, which is why today's video is sponsored by Keeps. Keeps is a subscription service that helps.
I don't think we don't need this thing.
It's almost ancient. The dichotomy of growing up watching Nickelodeon and reviewing this footage is eerie. It includes gratifying his obvious foot fetish, along with adult references that a child or young adult should not have to perform, considering the
And no
power
one
dynamic
thinks
of
about
an
it, did
executive
they?
producer and actor. Remember, this is pre-Me Too, when the culture surrounding predation in Hollywood was even more secretive. All this to say that social media campaigns or exposés would have fizzled out or would have been dealt with, if you catch my drift. In 2010, Nickelodeon hosted a website called The Slap, where actors from their most popular shows would post and interact with the media hosted on the site. Now, it redirects to Nick.com after Dan Schneider left Nickelodeon in 2018. One of the most disturbing pieces of content featured on The Slap was Ariana Grande or Cat Valentine from Sam and Cat being forced to perform vile acts that only a
Well, she
demented
wasn't
man
forced. She just
would
let. She
greenlight.
just.
So now, just for fun, I'm gonna say 3 sentences that I bet not one person has ever said before in the history of mankind. Sentence number 1. Oh man, my uvula got stuck between that hamster's toes. See? That could never happen because your uvula is that swingy thing in the back of your throat right here. Sentence number 3. I'm soaking wet! Quick, somebody bring me the ocean! No one would ever say that. Why? Because if you were soaking wet and you were upset about it, the last thing you'd want is for somebody to bring you the ocean. Because the ocean is even more wet than even the wettest person in the world. Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check this out. Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato. Oh my god. Is it possible for a teenage girl to drink water upside down? I'm thirsty. It's not possible. This has been me in a video.
I gotta take a.
Come on, give up the juice.
Dan Schneider.
Oh, hold on. We gotta take a picture of this. Wait. Bucko, dude. This is bad. This is not good. Look at this. Who would? That's Ariana Grande there. Bucko. Like, what are we doing? What? Get that off the screen now. So bad. I had to post it on Discord. That's why we're paused on this, because it's so unbelievably bad that it's kind of funny, to be honest.
Schneider goes by Dan Warp on his social media accounts. He has since deleted over 20 million views of videos from his YouTube channel and curiously updated his playlists years after his involvement with Nickelodeon, pointed out by fellow YouTuber Sloan. Miranda
We listened to
Cosgrove
Sloan
from
the other
iCarly
day.
has weird clips of
I mean,
Dan
he
punching
literally
her
the
and
last
awkward
video.
interactions with the production crew. It's definitely inappropriate and bizarre. Criminal? No one can really say for sure.
Did she say nice things about me? Because I will tase her if necessary.
What?
I have the taser. We haven't had to use it in a long time. But
I said lots of nice things.
No, I said nice things about you too.
Ah!
That's gonna get on TV. That's gonna get on TV.
Jeanette McCurdy, or Sam from iCarly, and later Sam and Cat, quit acting and looks negatively on her acting career as a whole. She is the definition of a product of the toxic work environment and abuse she details receiving while working as a child actor.
Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
She would later find her place behind the camera working as a producer and director. Both Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCurdy did not attend the Kids' Choice Awards in 2014, while Dan Schneider won a Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2019, she released a teaser called He Touched Me for a loose autobiography that she was making. This left the internet both disturbed and interested in who she was referencing. One theory is that her brother in this clip alludes to Dan Schneider.
There's a lot of abuse.
We
that
all
happens,
know
but
it's
I
Dan
work with
Schneider.
an incredibly emotionally abusive producer. Even talking about it now, my face gets hot.
Whose toast is
The other
tweeting
theory
Dan
is that this
Warp?
clip portrays a similar scene when
Oh
she was
my
in Law &
goodness,
Order
'cause-
SVU.
Oh,
It's also
dude,
worth
it's funny.
noting that Jeanette McCurdy is not part of the very successful iCarly reboot. She has even stated that she is ashamed of the role she played in the original iCarly. Amanda Bynes easily has the strangest and darkest story
And she played
regarding
Sam.
Nickelodeon. She met Dan Schneider at 10 years old on the set of All That, and would go on to get her own spin-off show called The Amanda Show. Amanda Bynes was a child star who lacked a relationship with her parents. It seemed as if she was just the breadwinner
Easy
for the family,
pickings
and that's
for
all they
Dirty
cared about.
Dan.
She was quoted asking for breaks because she was working so much. She developed eating disorders and was even medicated at a young age to help her deal with her problems such as dissociation, hiding her true self behind the character she played. In other words, acting was her way to cope with reality. At 16, Amanda wanted to be emancipated
That's
from her
so
parents,
sad.
meaning she could live her life independently without them. And during this period in her life, she would spend increasing amounts of time with Dan Schneider. An article claiming that she was going to live with Dan Schneider and his wife was removed from the internet in 2003. In 2014, at the age of 26 years old, Amanda Bynes was put in a conservatorship by her family. Since then, there have been outbursts from her Twitter alleging serious abuse from her father, but nothing has happened. There is also speculation that potential abuse from a father figure means Dan Schneider. There have been numerous Twitter accounts that impersonate Amanda and ask for money or share random details about the conservatorship, and it's impossible to know if one of the accounts is actually her or not. A cryptic message that was apparently left by Amanda Bynes, detailed by NT Lawyer, reads out in capital letters, Dan did it. This could just be celebrity gossip, but it's oddly specific and sometimes correct. However, at the bottom of Crazy Days and Nights website, there is a disclaimer that states, the site publishes rumors, conjecture, and fiction, in addition to accurately reported information.
So it could
Certain
be fake.
situations,
Could all be fake,
characters,
yeah.
and events portrayed in the blog are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Information on this site may contain errors or inaccuracies, so there's nothing really to make of this. It's up for debate whether or not Jamie Lynn Spears had to quit Zoe 101 after becoming pregnant in 2007 and ending the
Could
show
have been Dirty
in
Dan's
2008.
pregnancy.
NT Lawyer, an anonymous
my
blogger who
goodness.
runs
It
the
was
site
him,
Crazy
was
Days
it?
and Nights, alleges that a producer is actually the father of Jamie Lynn Spears' child, who is old enough to be her grandfather, and that new boyfriends are being lined up as we speak.
Wait. December the... What?
This was 2 months before she announced her pregnancy. One conspiracy is that Dan Schneider is the father of her child. Others believe it is another producer at Nickelodeon. Some denounce this conspiracy entirely, but it's certainly interesting. March 26, 2018, Dan and his production team, Schneider's Bakery, are let go from Nickelodeon with a severance package of $7 million. Because why not? Nickelodeon and Schneider said in a joint statement, since several Schneider's Bakery projects are wrapping up, both sides agree that this is a natural time for Nickelodeon and Schneider's Bakery to pursue other opportunities and projects. There are 2 reasons why Nickelodeon cut ties with Dan Schneider: declining ratings and/or allegations against him. It's incredibly easy to hate Dan Schneider, whether it be having teens deliver adult jokes, sexualizing young stars, or blasting feet over everyone's social media feed. No one from Nickelodeon has come forward with direct allegations. It is actually impressive how many dead ends and links surround this story. This is either the biggest Hollywood secret that has been kept under wraps, or the result of a deranged but not criminal man and internet dogpiling. But deleting thousands of tweets and videos can only mean one thing. What is he hiding?
Some things are meant to be, so get out of